one of the things that I've noticed about the way you talk about it is you seem to be saying it's gotten easier for you over time, that you're sort of 10 years into a process of writing consistently or taking on a lot of projects.
I worked at a pace on the web where I would just literally have an impulse and then the next day we make a video, right? I was a little bit of a heroin addict in that I needed that instant gratification immediately with my creativity, or it felt like I'm being left behind. We have that impulse to be seen in the world. While we're on earth, we need to show the world that we existed because nobody else will be like us. And then you have the flip side of that, of needing people to see you. And that's what social media does to you, right? That need takes over versus the impulse in the first place. So then your actions are completely externalized. I'm only going to do what the gratification wants versus what I want. And so I think we have this sort of, especially with social media, we have a sort of betrayal of self. I kind of think about it as like we turn into a chocolate hollow bunny, you know? So there's nothing inside because we're just trying to show people how pretty we are on the outside and, you know, or brilliant. And we lose the fact that, hey, nature wants us to show who we are organically, not what everybody else needs from us. Does that make any sense at all? That was very not.
It makes so much sense. One of the committee members in my head and so many people's head, or maybe a whole Greek chorus that is trying to calibrate what comes out into the world based on what's going to get the response you want. And because you've been in a feedback loop that is so tight, because you do so much of your work on platforms that go out like social media, do you just catch yourself in the cycle and pull back? Do you have a trick?
It's a lot of self-work. It really is. And it's also pulling yourself back into yourself. And that's, I think, why I wrote that book, you know, Embrace Your Weird, in order to get myself back to feeling good about myself as a creator outside of that gratification. You know, as I ratcheted back my social media presence, I used to be much more famous, I guess, on the internet, trying to figure out myself as a person and feeling like I'm worth something outside of that disappearing has been a process for me to figure out over the years. And to be quite frank, the quarantine has really done a great job for me in the journey I've been on. And this is kind of like the end of it. Like, oh, you know what? You are feeling good about yourself as a creator, even if it's just a comic book that you want to write that you're not going to get that much money on and people might not really see. I need to tell that story. And so 3 years ago, I wouldn't be in a place where I could even think about that idea, because then I'd be like, well, where's it going to get me? Is it going to get optioned? You know, are you going to pay the bills with that? So, you know, I'm not saying that everybody should be a hobbyist and only do their whim inside. I'm saying that it should be a little flame inside of you. It's a pilot light that you have to keep lit no matter what you're doing with your creativity for transactional sake. You have to keep the flame lit inside so that at least you're on a path that won't betray who you are.
The transactional thing is a feedback loop, and it does light up all the dopamine in our brain, and it also helps us pay the rent sometimes. So, I mean, all of those things are valid.
Exactly, yeah.
I love this point that you're making that it can feed you. The bottom line of like, I think I want to write. I'm going to see this next one through. I'm going to take on an ambitious writing project. It's like, what about entertain the possibility that it exists to feed you, not to torture you and prove that you're not good?
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. You're just trying to throw some fuel on the fire to keep lit. And whether it's just writing limericks at night, right? Or it's like, people are going to buy this kind of thing for me to get my foot in the door. Okay. If you want to do that, that's fine. I mean, I think the thing that gets your foot in the door is always the thing that reflects only something you could write. You really have to be confident in knowing yourself and knowing where you are relative to other people when you make these decisions, and also just kind of let shit fly on the wall and just make things, because if you forget how to make things with joy, then I don't think there's any point to it.